Hi everybody, this is our daily video for Monday, May 3rd. So for today, we are starting a new unit, ladies and gentlemen. Woo woo! We are stepping away from our digital portfolios and we are moving into our poetry unit. This is really gonna be kind of one of our last units that we do, so I'm really excited with you guys. So for today, let's not forget today is odds, reminders, grades are being updated. For our essential question for today, how do your life experience serve as a foundation to understand, appreciate, and create poetry? I really want to introduce you guys to poetry, but also have you guys include yourselves into poetry as well. So we're going to be looking at what is poetry. Is it rhyming? Is it stanzas? What are your experiences with poetry and how do you define it? So we're going to be talking a little bit about have you guys done poetry in your other classes? What was that like for you? How have you defined poetry in your life? Then we are moving on into our actual poems for the day. So we are actually going to hear and read some poems. So the first poem, you guys might be familiar with it, is Nothing Gold Can Stay by Robert Frost. And it reads, nature's first green is gold, her heart is hue to hold, her early leaves a flower, but only so an hour. Then leaf subsides to grief, or to leaf, so Eden sank to grief. So dawn goes down to day, nothing gold can stay. A little tricky there. I want you guys to talk a little bit about what did you notice in this poem and what do you think this poem means. So I have a Jamboard here for you guys where you guys are actually going to write down sticky notes on what you noticed about this poem. We're going to take a few minutes to talk about that, and then we're going to move into our next poem, which is called The Rose That Grew from Concrete by Tupac Shakur. And we will read this and watch a short little video on it, and you guys will do the same thing on our Jamboard. We will continue with We Real Cool by Gwendolyn Brooks as well. We will read it. I'm going to have you guys talk about a little bit more about what you notice in this poem. We're going to watch a small piece where we actually get to hear the author's voice as well reading this poem. And we get to hear a little bit of why she wrote it. And hopefully we'll give you guys some context as to why did she write this, or what did you notice in the actual poem itself. We're also going to do This Is Just to Say by William Carlos Williams. You guys might notice that the structure of this poem is a little different, and we're going to talk a little bit about why does it look different, and how does this kind of start affecting how we define or how we look at poetry. And then our last poem is going to be My Name by Sandra Cisneros, and I'm going to hear a little bit more from you guys about this poem and maybe why it looks the way it does compared to some of our other poems. So we're going to do all that as our presentation. For our final Jamboard question, it's how does your definition of poetry change after reading these poems? You've read a poem that had free form. You read a poem that had a very straight structure and had rhyme scheme. You've read a poem that is a song lyric. You've read a poem that doesn't really look like a poem at all. How can you define poetry to understand it? So I want you guys to do that for your exit ticket today. All right. And then I kind of just put it in our slide as well. How does your experience with poetry impact how you feel about poetry? So it's a discussion day for us folks. We're really just going to be breaking down these poems and what they mean to us. As always, if you have any questions or any comments, please let me or Mrs. Arroyo know or Ms. Reyes know, and we'll help you guys out. Other than that, I'll see you guys in class.